All right. The next section we're going to do today is titled Economic Growth. Economic growth. And we start off by talking about risks and sacrifices. And let's face it, if you are an entrepreneur, if you're the kind of person that willing to start their own business, this is a risk. And oftentimes you do have to make sacrifices in order to see your business succeed. I'm reminded of my good buddy Asa. He started an air conditioning business about 10 years ago. He's been an AC tech for about 25 years now. And at first, he was not doing well at all. He was doing all of his own calls. He didn't have any employees. He's trying to be the receptionist, and he made the mistake of doing his own taxes. He would then go and do the work, but he would work on the weekends. Saturdays. He has a young girl who's near my oldest daughter's age, and he would say, oh man, I'm working. I have to drop McKenna off with my mom on Saturday, and this kind of thing. He made a lot of sacrifices to get his business off the ground. That being said, eventually he got enough business to start hiring more employees. He would start buying, another truck and all the supplies needed in the truck, and then he eventually hired like a receptionist and a tax person, and over the last 10 years, he's built up a pretty successful business. So successful, in fact, that I believe he is now being offered bigger jobs. People are trying to buy out his business. He's been really successful, but he did take that risk. And he did make some sacrifices in order to keep his business to succeed. So, yeah, starting your own business is a risk. The book mentions productivity. That's how much work you can get done in an hour or a day or whatever the period of time is. Businesses keep track of it. And then, especially kind of manufacturing type businesses, they'll come back and be like, hey, we expect you to, get X, Y, and Z amount done by the end of the day. My wife, not in manufacturing, she's in medical care, but she has a percentage of productivity that she needs to meet every day, or else if it's bad, day after day after day, at some point boss comes to her and starts telling her like, hey, you need to pick it up, right? Your productivity level has been low. I'm not exactly sure the number, 70-80%. What does that mean? I have no idea. Okay. Anyway, she talks to me about this though, and I listen. As a good husband should. Gentlemen, always listen to your wives and your girlfriends. Well, okay, anyways. And now the next section, or the next little bit, is the importance of human capital. Okay, this is an important section. Human capital is labor, is me. Okay, I am LAUSD's human capital. Okay, and I'm very valuable to them because I'm really experienced, and I've been doing this a lot of years, and I make them money. Well, USC doesn't really make money, but I allow, because my teaching and my skills and what I do, I'm able to make it so that 200 plus students a day can come in and out of my classroom and can have successful experiences, learn enough to take that with them and be successful in the future, keep parents happy, and not have to, I don't send my students to the dean every period, this kind of thing in a regular kind of thing. Sometimes if there's a trouble student in another class, they give them to me because they think I can handle it, which I can. And I'm very valuable to them. Whereas a newer teacher, or let's just say me in my first year, was much less valuable, right? I was a struggler. Parents complained about me. I constantly sending kids out to the dean. I couldn't control my class. At one point, a kid graffitied up my desks, and we had to SRO officer had to show up and blah, 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 right? But they invested in me. They knew that, eventually I was going to get to that point, or they believed in me enough that I was going to, be able to be successful day after day, not require excess work. And I am a valuable employee because I can do my job well. Same thing for my wife. When she started 2 years ago, year and a half ago, she was not at the productivity level she is now. But now every day she's hitting or above productivity levels that they ask of her. They can count on her, and she's a very valuable asset. Look, the truth is that if you have a good worker, that's a valuable asset. When I worked in restaurants, I was a really good waiter. And hold on a second.
And one time, but no, he wasn't.
My children know all my stories. She says, "Oh, Dad, he wasn't a good waiter. He one time dropped food on a guest." I did, in fact, but that was when I was just beginning, right? And eventually, I got to the point where I was really good at my job. They would call me fall off mic. They gave me the extra section. If we were ever super busy, they would just dump the tables on me. I could handle a bunch of tables. I was really successful and really fast on the computers. I, was able to make money for the company. And I was very valuable to them. So valuable, in fact, that when my restaurant closed down, the GM took me to his next job because he knew I was just good at it. Having a good employee is a very important thing for an organization. So oftentimes, you hear people say, "Oh, we are so in gratitude to our employers for getting us our jobs." Yeah, but they're also in gratitude towards us, for especially if you're good at your job, you are worth more than they pay you. Okay, because they're making a profit on you. And the good employees, will make more profit for the company. And the bad employee, eventually they'll cut loose, but most employees start off needing work. They believe in you, they invest in you, they train you, and you get that experience under your belt. And oftentimes, right, we get to be really good at what we do. So human capital, the human labor, especially if you're good at your job, is very valuable to a company. We also talk about division of labor and specialization. This is kind of a right-hand turn. It's a little bit off topic, but starting in the early 1900s, really starting with Henry Ford, you see a change in the way products are made. And they go from being made by one person, right, to being made on a factory line, where each person does a small bit of a job. Henry Ford, down here, we're going to take a look. One of the benefits is that workers can be less educated. Look, if I'm making cars, okay, and I have to make the whole car, there are hundreds of things to do when it comes to making a car. From screwing down the seats to into putting in engines and windshields and then painting it, and I don't know all the steps. Okay. But if I knew how to do everything, that'd be a lot to know. But instead, in the idea of specialization or division of labor, all I need to know is one thing. All I need to know how to do is screw in seats. And all day, cars come up along the conveyor belt. I screw in the seats, and the next car comes up, and I screw in the seats. I can be trained less. Okay, which means you can pay me less. Where back in the day, before division of labor, one person would do everything, and that person would require more pay. Now, there is one person who generally knows how to do everything in a factory type job, but that's the manager, right? He's the boss. Whereas most employees just do one small step, less training, less education, less pay, more profit for the business. Henry Ford estimated that his cars could be made for 25% less if you use division of labor, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it is a lot. It's that pocket, it's that money. That these car companies, they're not running on huge margins. They're not making 50% on each car. So when you can get a car done for 25% less, that's going to help keep your business running. It's also going to make it so you can price your car lower and more people can buy your car, and then you'll sell more cars, right? So it's a double positive, no negative to this division of labor, except for maybe the employee. The best example I've always been given was the shoe factory, okay? Back in the day, if I wanted a shoe, I would go to shoe guy. Right? He would make me a shoe. He would measure my foot. He would then send me home. Say, I'll make you, your shoe will be ready in a week, or your suit, or whatever. And then, cut out the leather, put the knife back, put the scissors back, take the leather, move to the next station. You would then sew the leather to the sole of the shoe, put the needle and thread back, go to the next station. Now he's popping holes in the leather where the shoelaces go. Got to put the hole popper back out. Each step, right, not only requires setup and cleanup, but now you're also understanding that he has to know how to do everything. And I think I heard once there's like 5 or 6 steps to making a shoe, maybe 7. Nowadays, right, you go to Big Five and there's dozens of shoes on the wall. I just grab one, try it on, leave. So we had a real massive change in the way that business was done when we started this division of labor. We started specialization. And I guess there are positive and negatives, because it would be nice to get a shoe that was built to my foot, right? Versus just knowing which size I am. That being said, this is very profitable for companies. Nike has their shoes made, which I like Nikes. I'm a Nike guy. Has their shoes made in China or in Indonesia or in Vietnam, where they can pay people so little. So not only now, specialization of labor is saving me that 25%, but I'm getting it made where I can pay people pennies on the dollar. So I'm making a huge profit now on each pair of shoes. And this is how businesses operate today, manufacturing businesses, factories that make stuff. Oh, I'm seeing here, Henry Ford says that it changed the price of the car 50%, not 25%. That's a lot. If you're saving 50%, I apologize for that. This is division of labor. This is specialization. And it's something that really helps businesses be much more successful. The whole outsourcing of jobs to another country is another story for another day.